I think there's a lot of things that we go in and they just seem so normal. It's like everyone here is acting like this is just a perfectly normal situation, so it must be. And the burn pits are a pretty good example of that. So you're flying into a base like Wilson in Afghanistan, you see this big plume of fire and smoke, and you say, what's that? And someone says, oh, it's the burn pit, that's where they burn the trash. And somewhere in your brain you think, is that good for you? And generally the answer is, we don't know. So check it out. I mean, there's no reason not to say what, you're burning 240 tons of trash in a burn pit every day. What are the potential implications of that? I think there's a lot of stories like that, just that the military sort of takes for granted, and people in the military take for granted because it's always been that way. So I think there's a lot of stories. Just keep your eyes open and go at them. I think you have to know your stuff. I mean, if you're going to go in and you're going to question somebody about something, you better have the research done already, because it's really easy and very common for someone to say, oh, well, that's not a big deal, or to give you this pat answer that either is completely wrong or shows that they don't know enough about the topic to be speaking of it. So know your stuff, and that'll give you the confidence you need to go in and respectfully ask questions. I mean, if someone tells you something and it's wrong, you don't say, you're a liar. You say, oh, well, gosh, I have this report that says this. Can you respond to that? I think there's lots of ways to do it respectfully. Well, when we embedded with the medevac unit, there really wasn't a public affairs person. It was just us and the troops, with the soldiers, and they talk to us. Part of that is making sure that they feel comfortable with you and establishing trust, just like in any reporting situation. But yeah, there isn't like a handler in Iraq or Afghanistan who walks around to make sure that people answer questions correctly. As far as interviewing the locals, a lot of people are like, they'll get a fixer who drives them around, and they'll have an interpreter. Because I'm a military reporter, I cover the military. I don't usually talk to the locals unless I'm out on patrol with the guys and they're talking to them. But there are ways to do it. I see a lot of women in burqas, reporters in burqas, going out and just hanging out, but it's dangerous. Well, we're not allowed to bring weapons in. As a reporter, you're neutral. You're not, and not only are we not allowed to, you shouldn't. So, I mean, you wear body armor. You do pay attention and look out for yourself. If there's a patrol that you're going out on because you feel like you have to, as opposed to because there's a story, you might want to rethink why you're doing what you're doing, because people are dying over there, and there's no reason to put yourself at risk unless you know what you're doing it for. But yeah, I mean, you look out for yourself, and then if you're out on patrol, the guys will usually sort of surround you and make sure that you're okay, because the last thing they need is a dead reporter. So.